Hey everybody, this is B from Kongzerus, and I'm here. We made it at CES 2023 into the Arcade1Up suite. We got set up really quickly because Cyrus and team have been busy closing deals, working hard, and Justin and I have been walking the floor at CES. We have a couple of other community members here, Angelo and Xavier, that are testing the new Deluxe Arcade1Up cabinets. And first question to Cyrus, how crazy has it been being back at CES?
You know, it's crazy in the best way. We haven't been here since 2020, and hitting the year off, like hit the ground running is the best way to be, so we couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, so we have some new products that were announced. Unfortunately, for folks that were watching and wanting to see the CasinoCade, unfortunately, it didn't make it.
Yeah, hey,
well,
where is it?
What's going on? We were promised
Seriously.
some casino action.
It's similar to Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is the CasinoCade? It's been all over CES. Really excited for the showing, and it's just it's off on another press thing, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, so there is one CasinoCade in existence. There was some good coverage of it on the CNET, folks. I believe there's some other coverage from IGN. Hopefully, if you want to check out CasinoCade coverage, unfortunately, it won't be through us because we won't have it here. So we can't answer your questions about the CasinoCade, but he knows a little bit about it, a little bit more than we do. So chat just enough. If you have questions about any of the products that have come out, definitely let us know so that we can answer them. So put them in here. We're going to try to get to all your questions as much as possible. But first off, Justin, how has it been being back at CES for you?
Oh, it's been great. But I want to jump straight to what the audience wants to hear. And that is the questions from Cyrus. I'm having a great time. It's a fun time here. And those that are in the live chat, I'd like to hear your questions because we can get those answered by Cyrus if possible. We're going to do rapid fire. Are you ready for rapid fire?
I said, ask me anything in the world and be prepared for disappointment.
Okay.
I mean it.
So why are we here at the hotel? What's your focus and goal here at CES?
So our absolute focus is to show the products in the absolute best light and show it to press in the best way. So we wanted a more focused area. So we just put just the product in a quiet room. And I think that's the best thing for us, honestly.
All right. How has been the response with the people that you've been talking to so far and showing off these cabinets? I mean, what do they think?
You know what? It is so shocking, the positive response. Everybody cares about a different thing. I've had some people who beeline to the IGB. I've had some people who only care about Wheel of Fortune, but it's been really exciting seeing people just play.
Okay. So those that are excited about the new Arcade1Up design, the Deluxe, what is the ship date? When could they order it? Things like that.
Absolutely spring.
That's the fuzzy answer, right?
Absolutely spring, yeah.
Okay, so now you did tell us earlier that these are prototypes. So could you explain a little bit more about, are these the final designs, close? How's it going to work?
As always, things are subject to licensor approval, and we do mean that, but everything that we promised will be there. Molded coin doors, recessed screen, one-piece design, and screw caps all will be included. Absolutely. So everything we've promised will be there.
I know there's been a lot of people in our audience that are really concerned about the marquee, the screen. Those have been some areas that they've been wanting some improvement. How do you feel that Arcade1Up has, answer that challenge with these new models?
Disregarding any supplier information, this, everything I do feel very strongly is an upgrade, and feel free to take me down, but I think those marquees are of a much higher resolution. And, what we've thought, every single day of 2022 is viewing angle.
Right.
How do we
Angela,
fix it?
I'm going to have you, if you could step aside for a second, the folks want to see the cap a little bit more in person. So here it is, the class of 81 countercade, the, what do you call this? Deluxe cabinets. How did you come up with the Deluxe name? Is that just the next wave from Legacy to...
Deluxe just represents everything we've learned over time.
Okay.
Deluxe is all of the small changes that add up to a whole. Screw caps alone doesn't make a new line, but screw caps, molded coin door, affordability, recessed screen, I feel that that's a Deluxe package.
So let's talk about this screen here. One of the things people really want to know is, were these upgraded screens from the screens that were used in last year's Legacy line, those TN monitors? What can you tell us about these screens here?
I can say they are upgraded.
How does that viewing angle look? Does it look better to you at the very least?
Okay, so this is what I was thinking about. Those that are watching our channels are super diehard fans, and they probably want to know what I feel about these screens. So I do talk about it a lot.
A lot about aspect ratios and things.
And so I'll say that it having the angle does change kind of the experience. It has a positive experience when you're right in front of it. I'm not 100% sure. I think these are BOE monitors. Now,
you can let us open up the back.
Well, he said,
I'm not the one to make
he said earlier, these are prototypes
Okay,
anyway.
even the
So
back, okay.
I can say, even if they are IPS BOE monitors, when you're standing in front of them, they do look good. If you are across the room, you're 10, 20 feet away at that angle, you can see some discoloration. I don't think that means it's a TN monitor. I think you're just in exactly that extreme scenario where it's got like that 89. I think it's still IPS, but you can tell if you're very far away. And those that are watching on the stream, when you see that on video, you can see it comes across on the video as very minor discoloration.
This is an extreme angle looking at this like from here. I mean, Angela was looking, I'm sorry for our camera angles. If we're looking at this a little bit higher, we're going to get this a little bit closer. So can you see a little bit of the angle looking straight on? I mean, the problem has always been looking straight on any of these monitors, not an issue. It's really that side to side angle. So if you say it's an improvement, what did you guys learn from the community feedback from last year? Like what prompted that? Was it the community feedback? Was there anything from the supply?
So almost everything in this line is community feedback. And again, it's all, I'm going to keep saying small changes that add up, but people want to gather around. These are just not even single player control deck. We quickly learned is not single player cabinet, you know? So we tried to get most every angle, and like our QA department really like does make a party out of it in the sense that every real world gameplay scenario we feel we've pretty much covered with the screen. Again, we are accounting for things like 20 feet away, but in general, with people gathering around, replicating the experience of an arcade, I feel very strongly personally that we've done that.
Yeah. I will say that when I asked Cyrus to turn off all the lights, and I grabbed some B-roll footage, and we'll publish that later on my channel. And it seems as though that with this monitor, without any of there's a lot of lighting in this room. We're in a hotel room. There's a lot of lighting. It was hard to take pictures because I was constantly getting the reflection of the bright lights from the ceiling. I did Galaga, which is the most extreme. Got black background, turned off all the lights, and the screen looks great. When you're standing in front of the machine, that angle looks really good. And it kind of reminds me more of when you go to the arcade. There's some newer LCD, at least at my arcade, they have like a Pac-Man that has an LCD in it, and it has that slant to it. I think we're calling it the slant.
Absolutely. We call it recessed.
Recessed, the slant, right.
Monitor is really that kind of key that we're looking at too. So a couple of things in terms of the buttons. Are they the exact same buttons? I know that over time we've...
I think they are upgraded buttons.
Are they? Let me check. Let me double check. Yeah. What do you think? Have you tested these buttons?
I think the prototype are the same buttons.
Okay, yeah.
And if you haven't started manufacturing them yet, it's possible you should look at the buttons.
I'm pressing it now. How about the stick itself? Do you think there's enough? Because I know I have opened up joysticks. I have seen improvement in the joysticks before. Do we know what type of joystick is in here? Is it an upgraded joystick? Can you say anything?
Well, certainly like every day. I know this is like, but we are working every day to continue to upgrade our controls. It's definitely at the forefront of our minds when we build this.
Okay. So what has been the feedback? Or maybe this is just more you personally, right? You had told me that you have that class. No, it was the 40th anniversary Pac-Man. You love the wood grain, right?
So, absolutely, yeah.
So the wood grain has a riser. Well, this one doesn't need a riser. How do you personally feel about that change? I mean, are you going to miss the riser? Are you all into Deluxe? I mean, this is personal preference. Separate yourself from Arcade1Up. Tell me how Cyrus feels.
I'm like an emotional guy, right? So every cabinet, I have like some great story, you know, personally of how much I care about it. But so like, I loved the riser because it felt like we're making an impact on this industry. We're making something new and getting an authentic line look. Awesome. But also, I mean, this is real in a way it hasn't been real before. And I'll just tell you the honest truth. We bought a real Miss Pac-Man, like one on Craigslist, and we used it as the model for, guys, let's finally do the authentic cabinet shape. So I was telling you, you know, in the hallway out there, because of just like, I care about it. And like, I came up through licensing, like through this company, there's a lot of machines that like will never leave my apartment. I might finally replace my Miss Pac-Man. Like, even though I, you know, was so like, but me personally, I'm going Deluxe from now forward. It's just, it's real.
So then will we see this as a new standard, or are there going to be riserless designs moving forward, or will there still be a place where risers would be released?
So we're not really necessarily abandoning any lines, but Deluxe is a line moving forward, and we're committed to building that like you're gonna see more, absolutely.
More riserless designs for so one of the biggest feedbacks is obviously these are all titles that have been released in beautiful new form factors, but people want to see that there is something new on the horizon, that there is. And I know you can't say what, but 2023, can we expect some evolution of arcade titles from?
There is certainly more on the horizon. And again, it's always a balance and it's always seasonal. We want people to, there's so many people who have bought Pac-Man. There's also a lot who haven't, and we want to bring it to them. We want to continue to improve. There's no reason we shouldn't continue to improve and get closer to real. Our absolute priority company-wide, something we say every day at the office, is just two things. There's only two things I care about when I wake up and go to work. Okay. Affordability, authenticity. How real can it be, and how entry-level can we make it as a price? There's a lot of new stuff coming, and there's going to continue to be new stuff coming. But this, Pac-Man made us, and Pac-Man will continue to make us. Yeah.
So I got one more question about the price. I know right now you're at the point where you're talking to retailers, you're trying to commit to that price. Is it committed yet? Do we know what these are going to go for, or we're still a little bit off before we can announce the
always variation? But what I will tell you is we're capping at 500, so it will be below, and that's gonna, there's always different like retail, values and important things with that, but we're capping it and we're committed to that, and we will have an uncompromising experience at that price or below.
So you're going to try to let me get this right. So the new Deluxe Mortal Kombat 2 version. Hopefully, is that MSRP of $499? Is that your goal? Is that what you're saying? Gonna happen?
So I'm like not, they kind of keep me out of the loop at the office. I'm not like the most gossipy, so I haven't heard of the Mortal Kombat. But these ones, these launch titles are absolutely sub 500. Committed.
Okay. All right.
I love how you just try to,
well, I didn't know
that it was more popular.
Okay. Let me ask another question. What if there's another set of people that are like, hey, I don't even like the risers. I don't even want the height. I want it with a chair. Are you killing off the line from like typically Walmart has, where it's $299 or $279, where it just is short,
There's a straight answer. Definitively no, we are keeping all of our lines intact. There is a place for absolutely everything. And the riser-less 4-foot design, the original, it's going to keep continuing on. Like it will continue.
So RGT85 would be very happy that there's still.
He made a video. All of his lineup doesn't have a riser. He's like, I don't really get into that. And he was kind of upset actually that there's like an X-Men cabinet, like those other ones. Like he's like, you forced me to pay for a riser that I don't need. So do you know if there's, maybe this is getting into an area that you can't really talk about because it's new titles, but do you think we're going to see new titles or re-release of titles that have a riser? Do you know what I mean? That are bundled with a riser. Will we get that line as well?
Certainly. So if you're talking about, will we have, for many of the machines, I can't say the word all, I really can't, but for many of the machines, you will see a no riser, deluxe variants, right? Again, when I say affordability, authenticity, what I mean is every size, every price point. If you want an arcade, we're going to meet you at your level. And that all comes to demand, retail presence. There's always a million factors when putting the puzzle piece together, but we want everything to be in every format. Like in our reality, in our dream, we'd have like countercades of everything too, even like Buck Hunter or something, but like, you got to make it work.
Buck Hunter countercade is
coming.
Okay, the real question everyone has, did you kill the baby Cade?
We don't really kill anything. Certainly not baby, so yeah, so, we'll figure it out.
So I do want to get to some questions, and thanks for the super chat. So 360 has a couple of super chats. So as we've been talking a lot about the new, there are a couple of cabs that were released that still have some issues, mainly Marvel vs. Capcom 2 gameplay. So this is a big question for the community. What is the current state of online play with Marvel vs. Capcom 2?
It is absolutely with our QA department, and I see it in the office, and it's so tough. Like now I will get emotional. Like you want to release something on the release date, but you also want to release it in its best possible state, and bandwidth, it makes fools of us all. So we're so close, but I would rather the entire community doesn't like me, like make memes about it and I don't release something, or we don't release something that isn't ready, then release something that isn't good. You know, their quality does matter at the end of the day.
So for folks that don't know exactly what it means by QA, like what kind of goes into that? Is it near like the final phase that you've already gone through several builds and it's just going through back and forth? Like what happens in a QA process?
We really are just play testing every single scenario, and I've seen it and it is running quite smoothly, but we don't want to release it until they've played through every possible scenario and looked for the breaks so we can patch that up early. You know, I think one great update is better than 45 small updates, and I could be wrong, but that's my personal belief.
So last time that we saw you was on that 1UP show when you were talking about KI Pro release.
Yeah.
And I asked John D this recently too, that at that show, there was a promise for more communication about things like that, because that was something that we wanted to address. And then there was still like a lull. So we go through this wave and, you know, we made the trek out here, and thank you for letting us come. But,
Thank you for coming. Yeah.
but I feel like we're making that effort to come meet you to get this communication for the community that's here. 340 plus people are watching because Justin and I and Xavier and Angelo trekked out here to find you. Instead of you, as promised, we're gonna communicate to the community. I know there's been IG posts, so like, what's up with the communication? How can you, if you could say anything about that?
I think it's best to be honest and speak from a pure place of ignorance, and I do not even mean to turn it on you in the most genuine way. How could we be better at that? And how should I personally go back to the Miami office and tell we should be better at that? If somebody, you or either the community in the super chat, does tell me, you know, I'm better with instructions. Like, frankly, like if you give me instructions, we will do our best to follow.
Yeah, I think there's 300 people in the chat that would appreciate at least some formal communication coming from the official channels. That here's what I would really like is if there's a lot of noise for the issues that have come out that weren't addressed, but it's the acknowledgement of the issue that I think will really go a long way. Not that you have a fix immediately or a timeline, but just an acknowledgement that, hey, it wasn't ready at release. It's like you know, when you have a deadline and you know you're not going to meet it, it's better to tell somebody, hey, I need extra time, than it passing and then somebody coming to you and saying, what the hell happened, right? So I think there's an acknowledgement that the community wants from those mistakes and things. So giving you that feedback because that's what the community wants to hear. And so I wanted to allow you to address that. I know you kind of dance around it, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that official communication from your channels to at least acknowledge and, you know, give us more of that, because the thing we don't want to hear is continued promises of more communication, but then just falling flat. So don't depend on us as content creators to make you say these things. That's what we want to see, essentially. Is that fair? Is that fair? Is that fair?
I will add. I've heard this a lot from the community, and you know, we know that you are not fully responsible for all the communication. And again, we thank you for coming to this event. I know your main job is to talk to retailers and those type of things. But in the past, we have heard from Arcade1Up kind of compare themselves to big companies,
Right.
like big gaming companies. And you're like, this is what a gaming company does. We should follow what they do. But frankly, you should probably compare yourself to small companies that are similar scale, that have similar interactions with the community. One that the audience obviously comes to mind is Zen Studio. They have a show every month that's pre-recorded that is very precise. It's a show and they give updates. Here's where we're at on this patch. Here's where we're at with this. Here's our release dates. And the video's over and it's just fact. And it seems like that would be, I'm only repeating what I hear from other people. And I am mentioning that to you because you mentioned that Miami office going back, what to say. And maybe that information is not making it to the right people, but I don't know, maybe the audience can give that feedback.
Yeah, John was saying that in his ideal world, that 1UP show could be a monthly thing. And it was like, I know that's meant for maybe product releases and things, but I think every month there is something in the community that people want to hear about, either a new release or, again, acknowledgement of things like, I'm going to say it, you know, people that are chiming about Dragon's Lair audio issues. There's a small subset of people that love that cabinet to death, but still comment saying, is it going to be addressed? And so I think, again, an acknowledgement that we hear it and maybe an update that it's on our radar, I think would just appease so many people and really build that spirit of that, yes, we are listening to a space where there's a good formal way to get feedback. People will ask us because I'm here talking to you, or I've talked to John saying, hey, B, can you tell them this? And I'm like, why don't you tag on a social and do that? I'm not going to be your medium. But yeah, I want the community to be able to like collect that information, send it to you. Or maybe you open up a suggestion box formally besides having a ticket saying XYZ, because otherwise I'm saying submit a ticket for your issue. Like if I want an audio fix, you know, I'm just putting it out there. Hopefully you guys are agreeing with me in the community at some level. What you want to see, let us know. Hopefully you guys will look at this in the comments, and I'm sure there's tons of suggestions that'll be there.
I happen to know there's a couple of our people watching. So
are there? Okay.
Who's taking notes, guys?
Good.
I do want to say, while you're looking for some questions there, we do appreciate all that you do. I mean, there's a lot of people that have commented on my channel, and they say things like, look, there's no other company that is doing what Arcade1Up is doing. And of course you have competitors, but they're talking about with your license, with the goal of trying to have more of a getting closer to that replica experience. We definitely appreciate that. And the other feedback I would say that's also positive, I've been getting a ton of comments about people, and I see them on Facebook as well, that the customer service is really good. I think you guys have really, I hear more and more. And what I've heard some people say is that they're a year out of warranty, and they just put in a ticket, and they're like, yeah, we have an extra one of those. We'll ship it. Let us try. And someone made a negative comment on my video, which was really weird. He was like, this is horrible, their response. And I read the response, and it says, take a picture of the model number, go draw a circle around the manual of what item is missing, because the complaint was my item. Yeah, I had a missing item, and we'll ship it out to you. And I'm like, that seems actually really reasonable. It seems really smart. Like, take a picture of the model. Why? Why do you want the model number? Because you want to make sure you ship the right product. Circle the product. Why? Because we want to make sure we ship the right product. So the fact that and I think that's an improvement from what we saw for the first and second years. A lot of people are, you can have like a percentage of your cabinets come with a missing. That's inevitable. That's going to happen. You're never going to nail it perfect, but it's how you respond to that. And that's where you've really improved, at least from what I've seen.
When you say the word you, do you mind? Like, I would like to give a specific shout out. There's one singular person who is responsible for that. They're Brian on our customer service team, and he has done a fantastic job of re-engineering the team, following up on issues, and getting very specific. I don't think there's a single other person in our company who is that cross-departmental. He's following up, he's figuring out the issue, and he's rectifying in advance. So I don't know if he's watching this, but he deserves credit where credit is.
If you have put in a customer service ticket that was handled well, put a thank you, Brian, in the chat to let him know. So we got to give credit where credit's due, because let's applaud the things that are working well. Let's give Arcade1Up the feedback they need to get better. And that's hopefully what this type of communication is doing, where there is a nice dialogue. We have a couple questions here as well. MK didn't make it here out of the Deluxe line. Is that because it's still in prototype phase, or is it still in the back? Can we go find MK somewhere?
I mean,
no.
Gosh, what's MK?
MK?
I'm not sure.
No,
MK stands for.
There's a Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe that was.
I would say that right now, when it comes to CES, we are committed to launching with Pac-Man. And that's really what I'll say about it. I ask me anything, prepare for disappointment. I'm a straight shooter.
Okay, so all right. So if there were an MK cabinet coming in the Deluxe line, would it be backwards compatible rollback? Is there features for spectate mode coming for these things?
So for cabinets, this is across the board with all cabinets. We are building a family of products, no different than any other company. And you're going to see this with cabinets as well as IGT, where absolutely nothing becomes obsolete. So any games lists that overlap, same leaderboards, cross-compatible, and that's whether you're playing. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So, but literally, the Galaga high score here is the same Galaga high score on pack. Like, ROMs that overlap are all in the same system. So if you bought a cabinet that's Wi-Fi compatible years ago, it is the same ROMs. It's compatible with cabinets in the future. Obviously games lists will change over time as we get rights, as we get titles, but we are trying to build out as much of a game room family of products as possible.
All right. So 360, thank you so much for the super chats. He's been putting it in there. Any word on the free MK4 movement? Have you heard about the noise?
That one I have heard about, and I see it every day. And it's definitely, I'll say that's a pretty interesting one. We're always working towards new stuff, but I'm just.
Have you seen the cameo appearances from the actors in Mortal Kombat that want to see this happen too? Somebody's been really making sure that Arcade1Up can hear the community wants MK4.
I've definitely seen it.
Okay.
Period.
He's seen it. He's seen it. So MK4 Deluxe. Yeah, you've seen it. That's the official word.
Definitely seen it.
All right, so are you involved? What's your official role? You've been involved. You say you grew up in the company. Can you say what
Quite
you are now? I don't know what
so
you are
right now,
what is
senior licensing manager, and basically my main job is being a professional fan. I go out directly to Namco and Warner Brothers and our licensors, and I attempt
talking to Warner Brothers. That's
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't talked to them in a while. I should wish them Happy New Year, probably, honestly. But my direct job is getting game titles onto the cabinets. But whatever they need me to do, happy to do.
All right, sounds good. All right, another quick one about a screen specs. I know we can't open it up, but are there actual specs on the screen?
What does crisp mean?
That's one of the descriptions on the website.
Crisp, what I think at a bare level, crisp means, we've upgraded from CRT to LCD, and it could be anywhere from, that in between. But honestly, I think this comes along with the communication. Not to mix answers here, but let's get one of our engineers on your show 100%. I'd love to say I'm a tech guy, but I'm not. So I'd love to answer licensing questions, but when it comes to specs and things, let's get someone from our PD team on the show and get a little.
Based on what you know, is this a 4.3 monitor? Is it 1280/960?
I didn't measure it. Like, I should have measured it.
Measure the pixels. You're an aspect ratio guy.
Look, I think that's a BOE monitor.
Okay.
And I can say that there is a trade-off. It's a minor trade-off, though. With it being slanted, you'll have a more comfortable experience playing.
Okay.
I think playing it and looking down, and on these particular cabinets, because it's kind of you're kind of looking into a hole, you know what I mean? Because it's got the sides on there. It's a really cool experience. Again, I think some people will complain, and this will be the complaint. It's probably not what you're thinking about the screen. It'll be, hey, I have 10 Arcade1Up cabinets, but only one of them is slanted screen.
Yes, you'll have a very varied collection, but it's okay. That's what real arcades are, right?
I think over time, like variety, we've been talking about that on our channels. Like, if you're brand new to Arcade1Up and you're thinking about what cabinet to get, a lot of people in the community have gone to the point where they're like, variety. Some people want to get 5 or 6 fighting games like this guy here. And that's fine. If that's your thing, that's your
We've
fine.
got to talk to X in a little bit. Xavier's right there.
Right. But you might get like Star Wars if that's available, because that will give you access to a game that uses a yoke, right? And then maybe you want a fighting. Maybe you want a one-player, get some of these Galaga and Pac-Man 80s tiles, right? Maybe you want a race car game, right? Maybe you want a light gun. Try to get, if you're going to get 5, try to get 1 of each one. So when you go to the arcade, it's a completely different experience when you go from cabinet to cabinet. And so one of those being a deluxe and one of those having a slanted screen could also be the variation.
So we got some good feedback from Old Blue Eyes saying the only thing Deluxe line needs is a push start coin door. Love the form factor, and slanted screens is a major step forward. So great job. So that's a good fan. So coin doors, as well as like KI Pro came out with the push doors. Have you had any feedback, or have you yourself, seen anything with the KI Pro? Like, how do you like that cabinet?
I love the KI Pro. And when it comes to like actual push start coin doors, I think they're incredible. And I think it's a step in the right direction. But again, it's always going to be a balance. And right now, what is most important to us above all else is affordability. So things that seem small do add up in price, and affordability matters to us to the point where we may sacrifice push start coin doors, or as we continue to, talk with our suppliers, we may be able to add them for future. But right now, it's always going to be, we set a price cap and we make sure we meet it uncompromisingly. And Pro, of course, is a different story. That is, a higher end cabinet, but these are deluxe, and these are going to be our main moving forward.
So is it interesting that while these were released, the same time KI Pro came back on sale? I know it's super limited. Can you say anything about the availability of KI Pro? Is it still there in a limited quantity for folks?
Right now, it is currently in limited quantities, and that is just about constantly, being smart with our inventory and measuring demand. If we see genuine increase in demand, the Pro Series can absolutely be a thing. But again, it has to, we want it to appeal.
What do you feel about like the feedback about the use of lower quality sticks that OTG, one of the content creators, was mentioning, and several other people were complaining about the quality of sticks? Do you have any input and feedback for the use of lower quality Pro sticks?
Again, despite being pro, you can't underestimate that people want value, and everything's got its price cap. So, again, feedback heard. Like, we definitely need to continue to improve our sticks. But it wasn't unthought of. It's not as if things were lost in the shuffle. as we continue, it's an iterative process in all of these machines. And you'll see like this is a representation of an iterative process, starting with a small machine, adding a riser, building up to the real shape. So, we're not done with any product line, and we'll keep iterating. Keep giving us your feedback. And I promise you that nothing goes unheard, even if things don't necessarily manifest.
Well, let me get through these quick super chats. Console Fanboy said he acknowledged MK4, so he's going to buy Ms. Pac-Man. You just sold a cabinet today.
Fantastic. My bosses will be happy.
There you go. So Peter Griffith Electric Drum says, where is new pinball? Can you say anything about where virtual pinball is with Arcade1Up?
Again, expansion and then refinement. So we introduced casino and we're building out IGB, have not abandoned pinball. And I think you're going to see some pretty cool stuff. I think sooner than people might think.
He said soon.
He said soon.
He said soon.
Sooner,
Because when I was talking to John earlier, he said that pinball was just really tough because of the price point, like you said, affordability, authenticity, and it just wasn't.
So by sooner, I think some people are thinking 10 years, try 5. That's what I mean by
Okay,
that.
all right. So he's not like, so people think soon. They're like this year, 3 months, right? It's coming out tomorrow. All right, cool. Thank you so much, Peter Griffith Electric Drums. Console Fanboy wants to know about the monitor viewing angle. I think we've done some quick looks at it. So rewind a little bit. You can take a look at it. We'll probably get up and take a little bit closer look. But I feel like we can do a lot more B-roll. But like you played the game really quickly, Angelo. Yeah. How did you feel about it?
It played just like the old version did, but it doesn't have the issues of the screen being straight up at you, and it doesn't have the weird right side angle not being able to.
So quick question. People said that your neck was still cranked all the way down, that it might be too short still. But that's how real arcades were, right? Like, how do you feel? Like, were you having neck issues? No?
I'm 6'2". I'm already having neck issues whether I like to stand on these things or not. That's why half of the time I always sit on a stool anyway. I'm a stool pigeon.
I got a quick topic I want to talk about just for a second. I want to ask Cyrus a question. I noticed something, and a lot of people in the community haven't seen these cabinets up front. They've been complaining. If you want to show that one a little bit bigger, they've been complaining that the Ms. Pac-Man artwork is not genuine. And the reason why is because the original Pac-Man machine, the images took up more of the cabinet. Now, of course, there's a discussion about aspect ratio where, like, if you were to scale it out, you're really going to stretch it, or you're going to have to make it smaller to kind of fill out. You take an original cabinet, you'll see that picture at the bottom. But now that we're here in person, I don't know, maybe Cyrus doesn't know the answer, but why is the images, why doesn't the image go all the way to the bottom? I have a theory, but let's see.
I think a lot of it when it comes to this side art is we're literally using the original images that have been digitized from both cabinets we bought as well as gone through licensor approval process. A lot of it is sent to us. So, making them fit on our new dimensions and stretching them out always has its own challenges. We hear it and we always want side art to be as accurate as possible. But at the same time, I think that's about it. Yeah, trying our best to take the original images and digitize them properly.
All right, so Console Kits has a theory. Let's bring it in here.
All right, so here's my theory on this cabinet. The reason why the image is not stretched is because there's a crease right here. And if you look at the artwork, you have the upper part of the artwork here, then you have your crease, and then you have the lower part of the artwork. If you were to stretch it, I believe Namco would be a little upset that there's a line going straight through the characters. That's my theory. And if you were to say, this is my challenge, I have a deluxe cabinet, and because it needs to fit in that 48-inch box, you have to do a separation. So you're going to do the separation here, uniformed on all the cabinets, and you're going to put the artwork here, and you're going to put the rest of the artwork down there. Otherwise, if you stretch it, and I think this does maintain that scale, and you have that challenge. And I, for one, for those that are there's Canadian forums, there's US forums that are complaining about it. I think you did the right thing.
I like to hear that we did the right thing.
Can you confirm or deny any of that theory?
It's definitely a theory that it's pretty good. It's pretty good, honestly. I'll say that. That's I don't know if I thought about that, but maybe our engineering team did, honestly.
Yeah. But if they stretched it, wouldn't ruin the scaling, though.
That's true.
That is one of the issues. Yeah, if you stretch it all the way to the ground, you'd lose the, it would start looking a little bit funky. She would look a little bit longer. Maybe the legs would be longer, but maybe Ms. Pac-Man may not be the right Pac-Man that you would get to see. So the other thing, though, to your theory, even though the art's not cut off, the MK2 Deluxe, which you've confirmed, right, does have the line cut off right where Raiden's neck is. So at the very least, Namco cares, but Midway doesn't.
No, but sometimes you can't get around it, right? So if you look at the other side of the cabinet, how are you going to get around that on the Galaga side? It just has a crease through it. Yeah. Right. And what are you going to do? You're going to make the decision to shrink it and put it all the way up here? Yeah. You could do that. Or you say, you know what? Let's have it stretch across. But right here, there's no character. Yeah. It's not going through the guy's face.
Well, good job aligning that up. That looks pretty well. Was it tough to put this together, the new Deluxe cabinets?
Actually, I found it personally easier, as somebody who had to build all these, it was a lot of, the thing about the crease is like, it's definitely has to be in that exact location because
look at that. This is new. What do you think about the screw cap covers?
I love them. And I didn't even know how much I loved them until I built this because it does look more finished in the end.
Yeah. So Justin right there is putting in some screw cap covers. I've seen various versions that were 3D printed, but I mean, these just plug straight in.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull them out pretty easily. Yeah. They're not covering the art. So really good placement.
Perfect.
If you look on the Miss Pac-Man side, we actually did make them multicolor to fit each part of the artwork. So we have pink screw caps, blue screw caps.
It may not show up very well, but these are really good screw caps. So you got the cap on the top. You got, I don't know, the cylinder. And then there's these little ridges right there. I don't know if you can see them, but there's ridges. You back up.
There you go.
It's like a clock. There's one there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 ridges. It just fell. And then when you put it up against the cabinet, you can get it inside there. Let me see if I can move a little bit. You can get it inside there. Oh, that's as far as we go.
Yep. Oh, I can bring it a little bit closer.
And then if I just push it a little bit more, it goes in. And then if you wanted to take it out, you can get a finger in there, but you gotta really, it's not gonna fall off because of those ridges.
All right, so this is a new improvement from Arcade1Up is screw cap design. So we've seen riser-less screw cap design. I think these are things people have been wanting a little bit more, so I think there's been some great improvements on the line. It does, it's good to see incremental improvements. I think people will really get excited once you start seeing this in brand new kind of designs and things. So let me ask about this because Sheline Gaming, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. She says, is Arcade1Up going to hire Code Mystics to code your online platforms? They're the best, and updating would also be more efficient. What do you feel about Code Mystics and their?
I'll say that Code Mystics has been an incredible partner, and there's definitely work in the future between us.
What did you feel about them pulling back the KI spectate mode on their own? Like that just happened, and was that something that Arcade1Up was involved with, or was it really 100% them coming to you and saying, "Hey, we're going to do this in beta testing"?
I mean, it's always a collaboration, but yeah, like we pretty much from all of our partners, they ideate as much as we do. So it's always a collaborative process, certainly. Like we don't come up with everything internally. People say, it comes very naturally because, nobody knows more about the product than the people making it. So if somebody's helping you make it, you're going to take their feedback 100%.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for the super Sheline game. I would say yes, if Code Mystics can do a lot of the online gaming, that would be fantastic. In fact, they did some coding for a game that was not online. That was one of your best cabinets ever. I think the Star Wars cabinet that people have been rumored to hear. Is there anything happening with Star Wars this year?
I mean, it's lots of didn't Bad Batch just come out? There's lots happening with Star Wars, right? There's always something happening. Name a time there hasn't been something happening.
Or be more specific. So, Arcade1Up released a really fantastic Star Wars. There's been rumors of a Star Wars re-release. One of the cabinets that, if you look on the secondary market, it's very expensive. Can you say anything about? Is that something people can expect? Maybe not.
I'll say that we definitely hear the feedback. And when it comes to all products and all lines, again, we don't abandon anything. So definitely something to think about for sure.
All right. So Justin, since you consult for Arcade1Up, when is the Star Wars release coming out?
Next Thursday. So anyway, if you're getting value out of this video, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to B's channel. He makes great content. Keep in mind, both of us on our own dime, flew out to Vegas, hotel, all of this. We're doing this. It wasn't really a plan for us to do anything collaboration with Arcade1Up. Our plan was just to enjoy CES. And then we found out you guys were here.
This is true.
We're like,
this
okay.
is a true story for sure. And so thank you, Console Fanboy, again for this super chat. Appreciate everybody that's been joining in. Can you please tell Cyrus that if MK2 Deluxe, which has been confirmed, doesn't have spectate mode, no one will buy it. Pay code Mystics, hashtag no spectate, no buy. Have you heard that feedback from the community that they want more spectate mode for fighting game cabinets like Mortal Kombat?
Absolutely heard it. Absolutely committed to building out a community and absolutely hearing it now. I'm going to write it down in my notes right now. So this is me writing down that I've heard you 100%.
So why does Arcade1Up like Capcom more than Midway?
Oh, I love all the licensors. How can you ask a parent to pick a favorite? Are you kidding me? No way. Yeah.
I was just saying what the community sometimes feels like because they're not getting the same features as we have been with some of the other releases and things.
Of course, yeah. And again, I will say that when it comes to internally, and I take full responsibility, like once again, bandwidth makes fools of us all, but we're working to get everything in every cabinet.
So from the Deluxe line, people are asking, I know you won't potentially let us open up. Are there any like changes and upgrades to the hardware that you know about from the PCBs or anything? Or is it pretty much the same as previous?
There are, but I am not necessarily the most technically inclined. Like it takes me a long time to build a cabinet. So again, coming back to communication, I'd love to get an engineer on the show to answer those questions, not fluffy and be real with the community. Absolutely.
Nice. Okay. So we got a couple other things here. Justin, do you have any other burning questions that you wanted to ask Cyrus while we're here? Because we can do this all night. We can do this tomorrow. We can do this Sunday. I was trying to get him to bring a CasinoCade back here. We're going to, so you don't have like a GPS tracker on it? Like we can't go and hunt it down?
If you find it in the world, I will give you all access to it. But that's on you to find
that's
it.
a hunt. We got to go find it. Well, I
it's
found
yours.
Wheel of Fortune casinos as soon as I walked off the arcade or the airplane.
Exactly.
So they here, but just not
But
the one.
with all of the Wheel of Fortunes here in Vegas, it's a needle
Yeah,
in a haystack.
It is. Okay.
So I do want to say, before we went live on this show, we were talking to Cyrus. There was a little bit of time for setup. And he was really telling us about his personal passion about the products. And later he said that this is basically his job. His job is to be a super fan of the product. He gave us his genuine opinion of one of the products that we haven't talked about yet. And you emphasize very specific features that you think the audience, you yourself were impressed with, and the audience would be impressed with, I think. And that is the Infinity Game Board.
Oh, yes. Can we talk
Okay.
about that?
There's two features that you highlighted right away. I did not know about either of those. And that was how it differs in resolution. Mm-hmm. And again, you said you're not a technical person, but it was your reaction to the feel of it. Because you said you play it very often. Every Sunday, you get down and play your games.
It's me and my dad. I am a Harry Potter Wizards chess player. I love it. Like really and the IGT is one of my most personally played Arcade1Up products.
Can you lift it up? It's
of
all
course. Well, it actually is plugged in.
It's not. So does it not have a battery like the
It does not currently. Again, affordability over all else, and that is just the reality. But when it comes to the IGB, like me personally, like I was playing Operation within the CES demos that I've been doing, I have felt a more responsive touchscreen. It's 18.5 inches and it is 1080p full HD. And really, again, affordability is important, but this one of everything is absolutely the most uncompromised experience. Where
500?
500, yeah, actually. Sure,
Pretty sure.
and then I definitely won't get fired. But what's pretty cool about it is all of your games like transfer right over. Like every single game that's available on IGT, available on IGB. Same Wi-Fi features, same haptic feedback. We didn't compromise really any major components, and still made a portable version. So it's not a replacement. It's a great companion.
Is that a stand on the back?
Yeah.
It's meant to do that?
It is meant to do that.
Oh, okay. That's a new feature. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, here's the question. Can I hack it?
I can't. You can.
Just kidding. Team Encoder, I don't know anything, right? But I think you might have made additional sales. But these actually did go on sale recently, and I've seen a spike of people joining the ecosystem that previous ones will work with this one versus the other one, right?
Again, where it comes to obviously there is a nostalgia factor involved with IGT. but like way more with our cabinets, it's nostalgia. This, we are committed to building a platform. And to build a platform, you have to get it into people's hands. And this is really what the IGB is about and the entire IGT family. So we are looking to bring in more developers. We are looking to build out the platform. We will update the store. This is the farthest thing from a one and done. And there's going to be a lot more games on there and continuing to build it, you know?
Yeah, and so sorry for the washed out on the screen. It's really hard to see the brightness on the camera with this, so it's hard to see it up and close. But it does look a little bit brighter. You said it was more responsive, so that's my worry about when I had the IGT from 2 years ago. That it's essentially a giant Android tablet, and we all know tablets and devices over time can start to lag and feel a little bit of drag. But you said it feels more responsive. Is it like new? I know I'm asking you technical questions, but do you feel there's more power in it just because it's smaller? Like, why is it better than the larger one?
I believe to an extent, there is some level of upgrade in the chipset. Me personally, like I should have gotten a different degree, clearly. But I've definitely felt a significantly more responsive touchscreen, and even, you know, like quicker response. Like if you turn on something like Batman, Monopoly, Wizard's Chess, I've found the animation on IGB to be significantly smoother. And this is just from somebody like, again, I am eyeballing it, but I play those games. And
Which one are you going?
I just did the Batman.
Okay,
Please,
yeah.
yeah.
We'll see if we see if there's one where you can like pick something up and drag it. That's
Oh,
one of
I
the
think
things.
Operation is probably your best
Yeah,
bet, but you're welcome
yeah.
to play
So,
anything.
so we'll
you'd
test
like.
it out a little bit more. If people have any questions about the Infinity Game board. So we talked about the Deluxe cabinets. We talked about the IGB a little bit. Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe is coming out soon. Yes.
Yeah, gosh, you know, I forget which one are we talking about again? Yeah.
I'm putting Cyrus on the spot so much. I'm sorry.
I don't mind. I never mind the roasting. I never being on the spot as long as you don't mind being disappointed. By it.
That's okay. All right. So how much will it take to buy you a drink where we can get you some non-disappointed answers?
I've outdrank the best, so we'll see.
Have
know?
you? Okay, so that's a challenge, right? So let's see if we can get some extra things happening. We are in Las Vegas at CES. Is there anything else we can expect from Arcade1Up at CES in terms of other presence announcements? Like, you have goals for meeting with more people, retailers, like, or
you know, this is really like, we're kicking off the year with these products, but there is a future in 2023, and we're not done for sure. Maybe with these are the main products we want to focus on in CES. But again, this year for us is about focus. So, you know, the announcements are going to be tailored. So this is certainly our CES showing, but there's more coming.
all right. Thank you so much, Angelo, for trying to get that working. Okay, so we're coming up near the end of our show for right now. I think we might be doing some future content on your channel too.
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do, I think you have a few more super chats.
Mhm.
What I'd like to do, I'll ask all your questions in the chat. I know we weren't able to get to people, but what I promise I'll do is tonight we'll go through this live chat, try to pick out and categorize all the questions that people have. We may know some of the answers because we're going to be talking to Cyrus, and we'll probably do some more content on it when we go live again. We'll try to highlight those points and try to get those things answered.
Yeah. And then right now, I believe the Super Game Room dudes are starting up pretty soon. So maybe we can join them as well in case you want to talk to some more content creators in the community. You have questions.
Anyone who wants to talk to me,
definitely check them out. Let me get to these quick super chats really fast because I want to thank all of you for supporting the channel with these. When is GA+ coming to the Complete Galaga series?
Yeah, so we've seen that, right? On the CasinoCade. There's like a series where, oh man, we got all four together, but a lot of people are like, we need like a definitive, games list, complete Galaga unit where you get, Galaxy, Galaga,
That's another one for my notes app. 100%.
It's going into the notes. Thank you so much, Ruben J. Torres, for that. All right, bring back the Outrun cabinet. So we talked about releases for, Star Wars coming very soon. Like for popular cabinets, like stand-up Outrun in particular. I think a lot of people wanted that version. Is that something you might consider?
Again, definitely. We always consider it. Like, no game really leaves our library. It's always about striking when there's demand. If we see an uproar, like a true uproar of Outrun, like absolutely it's worth pursuing. But demand and supply have to meet each other in the middle 100%.
All right, makes sense. Area 51, is that a possibility from Vinicio, the horror cholo?
I mean, that's a pretty cool game. That's what I'll say. Like, I myself am a pretty big fan of Area 51.
Have you seen the recent renders of a Time Crisis cabinet from Arcade1Up?
I've seen the community talk about them. And again, that's a pretty cool game.
Is it? You work out of the Miami office now, right? You had to have seen it.
Oh, you think they let me into that room? That's for the real higher.
Well, that is the room where we first saw versions of a CasinoCade, the Wheel of Fortune, which we know has been released at CES. There was also some other images of various Partycade versions of CasinoCades. Any future releases in the CasinoCade line?
The CasinoCade is a line. Like Wheel of Fortune is our main SKU right now, but the CasinoCade, like the Infinity, everything will become a family of products over time.
Something out.
Okay.
Wheel of Fortune is the Pac-Man of the CasinoCade.
It is. It might be released more and more and more and more. Okay, and thank you, Sheline Gaming, also asking price point for future pros. $1,000 was too much.
You know, working with how could I truly say a price point without thinking of suppliers, thinking about the title, thinking about the license? Price point for future pros, absolutely something to consider. If 1K is too much, we will absolutely work on it. Yeah.
Thank you. I think people are looking for value at that 1K price point for sure.
If you want to follow up that super chat with a specific item,
Mhm.
I might be of more help.
Yeah. There it is. Okay, very cool. Thank you all so much. So I know I want to see the Wheel of Fortune CasinoCade. If we can find it, I definitely want to do some more content in it.
Let's track it down.
So many. I want to track it down.
I'll find
You know,
out.
one of my questions was like the render that was in the email campaign is different than the one that was here in terms of the side panel designs too. So
Yeah, would you say that if we did find the Wheel of Fortune, I want to call it a Partycade, but the CasinoCade, is it exactly what's coming to retail, or is it a prototype?
So like, I don't even want to say in between, but I'll tell you, let me, with an anecdote, right? In CES 2020, when we came, we had the pinball unit displayed, and that was so close to final, but there are always minor things, right? So we did put the sticker on it that says subject to licensor approval. And it's the same, like it's very, very, very close. Of course, some changes may vary between now and market due to a million different factors, but the prototype is very, very close to real.
And is that also a spring item, or planned to be a spring item?
Certainly.
all right, it's very cool. So I definitely want to check out the CasinoCade. Some more super chats before we end out. Cyrus, if MK doesn't have spectate, it will confirm that 1UP hates MK. So make some notes.
I'm not a hater. I don't hate. It's not my thing. So we'll see though.
All right, Justin, you promised to beg them to build 3/4
Yes.
scale stuffed
Yes.
toy claw machine.
Okay, so let me explain the backstory of this. So Peter Griffin Electric Drums constantly comments on my videos, all in caps typically. He doesn't do caps on your channel, but he does caps on mine. And it's always, we want a 3/4 scale stuffed toy crane claw machine. Can you write that down? Okay, write that down in your notes.
He's
all
adding
right?
more notes into that. So there you go. It's going into
Just
the
so they
notes.
know, I am really
He is writing down notes.
They're
Yeah.
actually
I can
watching
see it.
All right.
I see.
All right. And then Console Fanboy again saying he's prepared to make 27, no spectate, no bites. Thank you so much, Console Fanboy. You don't need to super chat anymore. You failed at your New Year's resolution about no more super chats. So, yes, thank you so much, but you don't have to anymore. Thank you all so much for joining in. We're going to take a look at these comments and questions. Cyrus, any final words you want to say to the community while you have them here?
We want to make the improvements. We are listening, even if we don't always do the best job. But also, you know, the only reason we iterate is because of feedback. So thank you for your feedback. And like, new year, new us, we're going to be committed to, you know, incorporating your feedback. But thanks for sticking with us, you know, year 5, and we want to keep going.
All right, Angela, give me one word. How are you feeling about these releases?
Positive, optimistic.
Positive, optimistic. Xavier, I know we didn't get to talk to you. What's your one word after seeing these releases?
Improvement.
Improvements. Justin, what's your one word?
Meh.
I hope you guys had a good time. We'll be definitely doing more content, hopefully this weekend. This might not be the last time. So check out Super Game Room Dudes. If you guys have any other questions, put them into the chat, put them into the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Hey guys, and we're back here.
I was trying to do a redirect to our friends, the Super Game Room Dudes, but unfortunately, it's not showing that I have the
You have to
availability.
refresh this page.
Do I?
You would probably.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Here, you
So
talk to them
everyone,
first.
everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. We're gonna do some more content. I don't know if we'll make it tonight, but maybe there'll be a day 2. And we're both doing a little bit more footage when it comes to CES in general. There's going to be some different CES content. Today was a lot of fun. We got to see a lot of, man, have you seen LG has like this transparent OLED screen? Like we were marveling over that.
All right.
A lot of cool stuff.
All right, we're ending the broadcast.
Okay,
Go check
well-
out the Super Game Room, dudes. It's been a chance.